Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, May 25, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you will be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know that has been liking your ear recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we still have that ridge of high pressure across the Atlantic that's sending a lot of easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can see that the main development region to the far south is dominated by 3 tropical waves at this time, all of which should be crashing into sections of Southern America. Taking a look, we can also see a pair of cold fronts right there off the southeast coast of the United States that show an area of low pressure. And if we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with those cold fronts right there affecting portions of the eastern United States, Florida, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, with some amount of overcast skies, showers and thunderstorms. And we can also see the clouds associated with the tropical wave right now crashing into sections of French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, and the other 2 tropical waves across the main development region. We'll be talking more about the weather across the Caribbean later on. Let's focus our attention on what has been happening across Jamaica for today. So the current weather pattern across the island has more of a southerly flow of winds, low level winds, pushing all of those clouds from south to north across the island. That's what we've been experiencing for the past week. No easterly wind at all. And with this southerly flow of wind brings some amount of morning rainfall to sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica, because a post was made at 5 a.m. this morning highlighting the Doppler radar images from the Cuban Doppler radar site, showing some greens and yellows within those greens that represent moderate to heavy rainfall right there coming into sections of some southern parishes. So we indeed had some reports of rainfall across sections of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, and sections of Kingston and St. Andrew for this morning. And even in the afternoon hours, we had some of those clouds exiting the north coast with the afternoon convection as usual. So we indeed had some amount of afternoon rainfall across sections of maybe Trelawney and St. Anne as well. And even up to recording hour, we still have some amount of clouds coming in from the south into sections of some southern parishes to bring some amount of isolated showers to some spots. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images before the sun went down, we can indeed see that the clouds that brought that rainfall to sections of the north coast for this afternoon had some sparkling white dots in there, so we indeed had some amount of afternoon isolated thunder showers as well. Taking a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, we can see it confirming that rainfall that we just mentioned across the southern parishes coming into sections of the southern section of the island. So we can see some amount of dotting of greens and yellows right there off the coast of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. Thomas, maybe Manchester. So they're indeed getting some amount of spotty showers coming in from those clouds that we saw at the end of the satellite images. And we could get some more of that into tonight as well across some spots. Taking a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology's accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours, we can indeed see where we've been having some amount of rainfall across sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica. This map is not 100% accurate, but it gives us the gist that it has been raining across sections of some southern parishes, then across sections of some northern parishes, especially during the afternoon hours. Taking a look at the temperatures for tonight, we can see about 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as usual as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. Taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, we can see that 1 p.m. on Friday on both the Euro and the GFS models are showing that Jamaica is in the clear for the most part. We are in between an area of warm or above normal temperatures right there across Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, and an area of below average temperatures across the Cayman Islands, Yucatan Peninsula and the Gulf of Mexico. So we're in the clear. We're not in any above normal or below normal temperatures. We should be receiving average temperatures for Friday. And what are the average temperatures for the month of May? 89 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 32 degrees Celsius. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see some amount of dry air being entrailed into sections of Jamaica, some yellows, but that's on the small amount or the least amount of dry air scale, with the highest amount of dry air right there off the northeastern coast of the US as well as sections of Africa. Taking a look at the Saharan dust, we can see that most of the Saharan dust is right there across the northern section of the North Atlantic, or the northeastern section of the North Atlantic, as well as the eastern section of the main development region, across sections of Florida as across sections of Africa as well. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see a lot of blues across the island, or around the island, surrounding the island, that represent 0 to, let's say, 0.5 meter wave height, and that's due to the fact that we'll be still receiving some weak winds coming in from the south across the island for tomorrow. And we can also see that all of that air is being piled up across northern Jamaica. All of the blues represent the least amount of wind, and with that comes the buildup of clouds and afternoon rainfall across sections of northern Jamaica. So that's where we indeed will see that rainfall for tomorrow. Taking a look at the wind shear map, we can see that we have that wind shear coming in from the southwest or west southwest across the island for tomorrow. So that indeed favors the rainfall across sections of northern Jamaica, especially considering that they have the lower level flow. So they're indeed having that upper level flow as well. So definitely rainfall for the north coast, and the precipitation forecast maps confirm this. Both the U and the GFS are showing lots of blues across northern Jamaica. What time is it? 3 p.m. Jamaica time, and the blues represent rainfall. So we're definitely in for some amount of rainfall across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. We know those are maybe Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. So get ready for some of that afternoon rainfall. Even on the accumulated precipitation forecast, we see confirmation of this rainfall, with majority of the north coast being shaded in the greens that represent up to 0.25 of an inch of rainfall on the GFS. The Euro is a bit more robust, showing even up to at least 0.3 of an inch of rainfall across northern Jamaica. And we're indeed grateful for all the rainfall that we've been getting so far, considering that we're in one of our rainiest months of the year. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get, even although it's falling in more spots than others. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a lot of clouds coming into sections of Suriname, French Guyana, portions of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, and Costa Rica getting in on some amount of rainfall as well. Not to mention some clouds coming into sections of the Leeward Islands to bring some amount of isolated showers to sections of those spots as well. You can also see a lot of thunderstorms across portions of Cuba, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, and Florida, associated with that cold front that we mentioned earlier. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can see a lot of spotty showers, scattered showers that is, across majority of the northeastern Caribbean. So sections of northwestern Puerto Rico, sections of US and British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts, St. Martin, St. John's, Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, Guadeloupe getting in on some amount of spotty showers, hit or miss showers that is. And if we actually take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see some amount of rainfall coming in to the east of Barbados, exiting the west of Barbados. So they indeed had some amount of rainfall across the island today, coming in from the east, even passing to the north and the south of the island, going into sections of St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall associated with the afternoon convection across portions of Cuba, as well as sections of northern Venezuela right there. And we can also see that rainfall that we saw on the satellite images across sections of Guyana, French Guyana, and Suriname. Taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, we can see a lot of below average temperatures across portions of the Gulf of Mexico, the Yucatan, Cuba, Florida, while we have above normal temperatures across Central America, anywhere from Guatemala eastward. So maybe sections of Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, maybe sections of ABC Islands, Trinidad, Grenada, sections of St. Vincent, maybe sections of St. Lucia, the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos, and sections of the Bahamas should be getting in on some above normal temperatures for tomorrow, with everywhere else experiencing average temperatures. Even on the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Friday, we see a lot of clear air across majority of the Caribbean, with all of the dust right there across the main development region. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the highest waves right there of the east coast of the United States, as indicated by all of those rays that represent 2 meter wave heights or more, and that's due to the fact that the strongest winds will be across those spots associated with the area of low pressure that the U.S. National Hurricane Center is still highlighting, That's bringing some amount of inclement weather across the southeastern coast of the United States. So they're indeed getting up to 30 to 40 knot winds up there, and that explains why the highest waves are up there as well. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing a lot of rainfall for sections of Cuba, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, even that area between Hispaniola and Jamaica right there, stretching all the way down into sections of Colombia. So some rainfall to be had across the waters of the Caribbean as well. Sections of the northeastern Caribbean still to receive some more rainfall. Section of eastern Trinidad and Tobago. Lots of rainfall for sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname and French Guiana. We see consensus on both models. When we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Taking a look at the western portion of the basin, we can see some amount of rainfall being predicted for sections of central Mexico, and we can see some rainfall across sections of Guatemala as well as sections of Belize and the Yucatan Peninsula, but it won't be as robust as what we see across sections of central Mexico. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks.